Jai Sri Ram, welcome everybody. Welcome to Bharat Mark. Dr. Saab, Dr. Adityanjee is with us. Very, very thankful to have him here. Appreciate you coming in. आपका तो इतना हमें इंफॉर्मेशन देते हैं, इसके लिए हम बहुत बहुत आभार हमारा कभी भी, और आज का चर्चा होगा दोस्तों, इजराइल एट वार, इंडिया नेक्स्ट, पीएम मोदी एंड भारत रेडी, इसके बारे में, और भारत का इम्पैक्ट क्या है इसके बारे में भी होगा. बिफोर गोइंग फर्दर, बिफोर वी कॉल Dr. Adityanjee, please go ahead and like the video, comment on the video, friends, and also share the video with as many people. जितना भी लोगों से हो सकता है, आपका मदद से ही हम ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोगों तक पहुंच पाएंगे. Please also make sure to subscribe the channel if you didn't already, and press the notification bell to make sure that you get connected with us when we go live. Also, दोस्तों, हमारा हर दिन का एक धार्मिक मैसेज आती है, उसको पाने के लिए आप +16479644790 में हमें एक व्हाट्सएप भेजिएगा, हमसे जुड़िएगा, ताकि आप और आपका परिवार सनातन के हर दिन का हमारा मैसेज पा सकें और सनातन के जड़ से जुड़ के रह सकें. ओके, डॉक्टर साहब, जय श्री राम. Thank you. Dr. Saab is a psychiatrist and also working on the humanitarian issues and genocide that is being forgotten and covered, which is never being spoken about. Many of the things we have given, it's so much pleasure for us to have you here, Dr. Saab. And see, you are an expert on the subject, and you love to know Israel at war. ओके, डिक्लेयर हो गया है, फुल फ्लेज्ड वार है बोल रहा है यूएन. अब अमेरिका से दे विल नॉट यूज द इसराइल का जो एयर स्पेस का यूज नहीं करेंगे अभी के लिए, बहुत खतरनाक सिचुएशन है बोल रहा है. तो ये सबका इम्पैक्ट भारत का ऊपर क्या होगा, डॉक्टर साहब? एंड ऑल्सो मोदी, ये जो आप देख सकेंगे इधर कि ये जो पाकिस्तान से अभी आज ही थ्रेट आने को चालू हो गया है. We will do the same thing in Kashmir as Hamas has done to Israel. Okay, तो इसका मायने क्या है? अगर ऐसा चाइना के हिसाब से, पाकिस्तान के हिसाब से मल्टी साइड अटैक आया तो ये हो सकता है क्या? इसके बारे में.
सुंदर जी, Israeli cabinet has officially declared war on Hamas. The attack by Hamas and invasion of Israel by Hamas was a very well planned, meticulous, multi-pronged attack that included 5,000 missiles. It included almost 1,000 Hamas terrorists who use land using motorcycles and pickup trucks. They used airspace using motorized paragliders, drones, and used the sea route using speedboats. So clearly, it is a very well organized attack. It does not seem to be just an attack by an organization. There is some foreign backing. The foreign backing is definitely coming from countries like Iran. There is a simultaneous coordinated attack from north by Hezbollah. Hezbollah fired rockets at Israel, and at the latest count, 700 Israeli people, whether they are civilians, whether they are members of the Israel Defense Forces, have been killed. It has claimed that they have taken 130 Israelis into custody and taken them to Gaza. What they have done, that they have kidnapped these people, mainly they are children, women, and elderly people. I was sick to see Jewish babies in cages hostage by Hamas terrorists as a chip to Spain. I also saw how Jewish women were, desecrated,
Mm-hmm.
uh, mistreated. Even the terrorists were spitting on the corpse of a Jewish German singer
Mm-hmm.
whose clothes had been stripped.
Right.
So, this is a serious attack. And yes, it was a surprise attack, and Israel took some casualties. But now Israel is getting back into action.
Mm-hmm.
However, the surprise and the coordinated nature of the attack has led to quote unquote jubilation amongst
Mm-hmm.
the supporters of Hamas, whether
Mm-hmm.
they are in Palestine, whether
Mm-hmm.
they are in other Arab countries, whether they are in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
What are the implications for Bharat? Can this happen for Bharat? It has happened for all of us remember 26/11.
Mm-hmm.
That was a terrorist attack coordinated by a foreign power,
Mm-hmm.
Pakistan. So
Mm-hmm.
we have the experience of these kind of terrorist attacks in the past.
Right.
Is Bharat prepared for it? Yes, Bharat is gradually getting prepared for this kind of things. It was shown after Pulwama attacks when there were Balakot surgical strikes. So Bharat of 2023 is not the Bharat of 26/11
Mm-hmm.
during the UPA regime, when almost for 3-4 days the terrorists had a heyday, killing
Right.
civilians, and the government of the time could not even, bring the commandos of NSG to
Mm-hmm.
kill them. And there was unrestrained killing of civilians, tourists, hotel guests. So, yes, it was possible at that point in time. But Bharat of 2023 is much more stronger. Our intelligence agencies are much more stronger. And the mantra of the new government is to always be prepared, never let your guard down. You did mention that if China and Pakistan coordinate, whether terrorists will have a heyday.
Mm-hmm.
And at least for a decade or so, the security establishment in Bharat is aware of a 2.5 front threat. I won't
Right.
say 2.5 front war, but a 2.5 front threat.
That is going to be my next question. That is exactly right.
And that threat perception is very correct. There is a threat from China, there's no question about it. There's a threat from Pakistan, there's no question about it. But is there an additional threat? Yes, there is an additional threat because there is a terrorist machinery.
Mm-hmm.
There are sleeper cells that are sitting in India, that are sitting
Mm-hmm.
in, and in times of an urgent crisis, it is possible that these sleeper cells may target some.
Okay, let me come to the question, the half front you are talking about, two and a half front. Okay, मेरा सवाल ये होगा डॉक्टर साहब कि ये जो अभी मैसेज आ रहा है इंडियन मुस्लिम कम्युनिटी से, जो राक्षस कम्युनिटी है, वो बोलते हैं कि we are first Muslims who stand with Palestinian and then we are Indian. ओके, तो अभी ये मेरा पूछ है कि ये तो शाहीन बाग में तो रास्ता बंद किए, फार्मर प्रोटेस्ट में रास्ता बंद किए. अभी टुमारो अगर एक वार हुआ भारत के साथ, ऐसा हुआ, तो क्या ये लोग का मस्जिद रास्ते में है, चर्च रास्ते में है, ये क्या रास्ता रोकेंगे? तब क्या करेगा भारत? पहले 2 अटेम्प्ट में तो फेल हो चुका है.
देखिए, ऐसा है कि the security state in India, the security establishment has gradually strengthened over last 9.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And they are very, very clear in their objectives.
Mm-hmm.
If you are anti-national, If you attack national interests, you will be tackled. It does not matter what your religion is, it
Mm-hmm.
does not matter who you are. If in a time of crisis you open a
Mm-hmm.
domestic front and attack the Indian state, then Indian state is very well prepared to tackle that challenge. And
Mm-hmm.
I won't speak for the government, but as an analyst, I see what is happening.
Mm-hmm.
India's security establishment was degraded for a period of for almost 10 years, from
Mm-hmm.
2004 to 2014. And
Mm-hmm.
at that time, there were numerous terrorist attacks.
Right.
But since 2014, the security agencies and intelligence agencies have got into action, have swung into action, and yet
Mm-hmm.
never underestimate the adversaries, but you always be on guard. And I am pretty sure the Indian state, the Indian government, the Indian agencies are on guard, as they should be,
Mm-hmm.
because one has to learn about national security from every incident. Sometimes these incidents are used as a dress rehearsal. The experience from these incidents, terrorist incidents, is used as a dress rehearsal to stage other attacks. And we know that what happened in 2611 was used in Africa, in other countries. Same, you know, methodology was replicated. So yes,
Mm-hmm.
what happened to Israel on October 7th, 2023, will definitely be used by terrorist elements. And I'm pretty sure that India's security agencies and India's defense establishment is watching it. But Indian state is no longer a weak state. Bharat is becoming stronger,
Mm-hmm.
becoming more self-confident.
Mm-hmm.
It is not paralyzed by ideological inertia. As far as the current government is concerned, the national security is supreme. And I'm fully confident that anyone on the domestic front, in case of a war with China or in case of war with Pakistan, if they target domestic assets, if they side with the enemy, they will be neutralized.
बट डॉक्टर साहब, मेरा ये क्वेश्चन है, मेरा दो क्वेश्चन है आपके लिए मेनली। ये जो अटैक हुआ, इसराइल को पता भी नहीं था चला। उनका बताया जाता है दुनिया में बहुत बड़ा मोसाद जो है, बहुत बड़ा स्पाई एजेंसी है, उनको पता भी नहीं चला। इतना रॉकेट बनाया गया, ये सब अंडर द नोस उनका उनका पास में ही किया गया। भारत का जो स्पाई एजेंसी है कितना ताकतवर है कंपेयर टू मोसाद। ओके, नंबर वन। नंबर टू क्वेश्चन आई हैव इज फॉर यू कि आज जो ये जो वार हो रहा है, इसका भारत का ऊपर कितना असर पड़ेगा, ये भी।
Okay. So, if you see, Mossad was considered as a very capable intelligence agency as it is.
हम्म।
But if you see the trend in Israel in the last decade, and especially in last 3 4 years, is that the Israeli society is in an internal turmoil. The democracy in Israel has led to several unstable coalition governments with multiple prime ministers. You have seen that.
हम्म।
Whenever there are unstable coalition governments, what suffers? The national security suffers. In fact, because of the fight between the Supreme Court and Israeli government of Netanyahu, Netanyahu tried to bring some judicial reforms, and there was a civil disobedience movement in the country. And some of the reservists said that they will not help the government. They actually went against the government. So, Israeli society, which is at this point in time under strong leftist influence, is battling the government. In other words, the Israeli state is not so strong as it used to be. It's weakening. And that has reflected in the intelligence failure by Mossad. There were other reasons also. Uh, you know, the drones and the motorized paragliders, they cannot be detected by the Iron Dome. An Iron Dome has a limited capacity. If you send 5,000 missiles on the same day within an hour, yes, any system will get overwhelmed. So, yes, there was an intelligence failure. The timing was very, very crucial. It was
Mm-hmm.
the 50th anniversary of the Yom Kippur War, which started in 1973 on October 6th, and this was on October 7th. This is a festival time when the rest of society was in a festival mode. And actually, the terrorists attacked on a musical concert, and not on the installation. They actually targeted a musical concert, which is a soft target. So yes, there is failure on part of Mossad as well
मगर
as
मगर डॉक्टर साहब उनके लिए 4 घंटे हुआ इवन टू रिएक्ट
yes, because
पता भी नहीं चला.
they were all in festival mode. Members of the Israeli Defense Forces had been given leave to be home to be celebrating the festival. Now that actually reinforces a notion that you should always be on guard. You cannot actually neglect the national security because it is Diwali and the enemy.
वो उनका उनका बुद्धि में ऐसा आ गया कि हम सबसे बड़े हैं हमके मतलब इधर they were become overconfident.
You should never be complacent when national security is concerned. You should never economize. You should never let your guard down. You should never underestimate your adversary. You should always be prepared for the next challenge. And that is where the failure lay, as far as Israel is concerned. Having said that, Israeli government has declared a state of war on Hamas, and I am pretty sure as Israel gathers its wits, there will be swift and strong retaliation against Hamas. The war fighting and terror making capabilities of Hamas would be degraded and destroyed in the Gaza Strip, and they will not be able to govern Gaza Strip anymore.
ओके नाउ डॉक्टर साहब ये जो अभी जो जंग चल रहा है इसका इम्पैक्ट भारत और भारत पॉलिटिक्स के ऊपर क्या रहेगा. इलेक्शन आ रहा है, व्हाट काइंड ऑफ इम्पैक्ट दीस थिंग्स विल हैव एंड इकोनॉमिकली हाउ डिफिकल्ट सिचुएशंस आर वेटिंग.
देखिए बात ये है कि भारत में
You can continue in English too. Yeah, we both. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
in the entire world something happens, there is a section of Indian polity that will always try to bring the government down,
Mm-hmm.
always put the government on the mat. Excessive amount of democracy allows the opposition to belabor and bash the government but on any point or any issue. So they will continue to do that. There is a difference between the motivated critique of the government and the population of Bharat. There's a strong difference. And on one hand, it may embolden certain anti-national elements. Certain opposition parties will find fault with government of Bharat for standing with Israel, which they are rightly doing because Israel is under attack by a terrorist organization, not by a state. It's not the Palestinian Authority that is fighting the war against Israel. It is Hamas, the terrorist organization, that is fighting the war and causing you know death of civilians, women, children, and abusing the you know dead bodies and things like that. So there will be a section in Bharat that will try to corner the government, and that has happened in time of any crisis over the last 9.5 years. There are innate strengths of Bharat. It is no longer a land state. Unlike Israel, which was getting, somewhat softer, declining, the trend in India or trend in Bharat is opposite. India is becoming more stronger, becoming more self-confident, and has been able to challenge all kinds of crises, whether that was COVID, whether that was terrorist attacks. So yes, there is some significance for Bharat. Yes, the terrorists will try to find an opportune movement to attack government of Bharat, but I don't think they will be able to succeed because our security agencies and our security forces are very committed. They are willing to do
Mhm.
anything and everything, make the ultimate sacrifice. And in that sense, Bharat is not like Israel. There's a stronger, there's a strategic depth. Israel is a very small country, The area of
Right,
Israel is very small. So terrorists can have a
right.
heyday. Bharat is not like that. It's a large country. You can attack one target, but you cannot, paralyze the entire country.
And Dr. Sab, economically, what kind of impact this war will have on Bharat? You think
I
economically and strategically, military wise?
Economically, there's not likely to be any, it's a limited terrorist invasion in Israel. It's not a major war. As the situation changes, you will be finding that Israeli defense forces neutralize the terrorist organization, not just in the Gaza Strip, but possibly West Bank also, because Hamas has offices in West Bank also. So any Hamas office, any Hamas training camp would be a legitimate Israeli target. If Hamas has bases in neighboring countries, they would be legitimate Israeli target, considering the fact that Israel is at war. But, in Bharat, we have a larger country, we have very capable armed forces. I don't think it's going to affect the economy of Bharat in any sense. Yes, strategically, there will be some challenges and we'll have to be much more prepared than what we are now.
Mhm.
Our intelligence agencies will have to be, successful 101% to thwart any possible terrorist attacks. Every time we see on Independence Day celebration and Republic Day celebration, intelligence agencies in Bharat are on high alert. We are going to have a Republic Day celebration on January 26th next year, 3 months before the elections. There are chances that
And
Quad.
Ayodhya Mandir is coming too, 22nd of January.
So there's already a threat. The threats have been issued, threats have been assessed. So I'm pretty sure the government of the day, the government of the land is very capable in assessing the threats, analyzing the threats, and having counter terrorism capabilities.
Okay, डॉक्टर साहब, one question to you, that is, ये आज मोदी जी ने वैसा एक काम किया जो आज तक का कोई प्रधानमंत्री नहीं किया स्वतंत्र भारत का। वो बोले, खोल के बोले कि इंडिया स्टैंड्स विद इसराइल। इज इट अ पॉलिटिकली स्मार्ट मूव? क्योंकि क्या है, इसके वजह से क्या उधर का जो मुसलमान का गुट है ये नाराज होंगे, ये अंदर के अंदर इन भारत का ऊपर ऐसा आतंकवाद फैलाने में काम पे आएंगे? ये क्या, व्हाट डू यू थिंक अबाउट द स्टैंड ऑन इसराइल बाय द प्रधानमंत्री?
Let me be very clear. At time of every crisis, Israel has helped Bharat, both materially and in terms of moral support. 26/11 was a terror attack on Bharat. At that time, not only citizens of Bharat were targeted, but also Jewish tourists were killed in a Jewish, house. In Kargil war also, Israel supported Bharat with material support. Now, at this point in time, when there is a terrorist attack on a friendly nation and a strategic partner, I think we cannot just go into verbal gymnastics. Support has to be there, it has to be clear, it has to be unequivocal, and the prime minister has done the right thing. Now, if somebody, because of religious or affiliation, sides with the terrorists, I think that is their folly. And whatever they may try to do, again, Bharat is capable of tackling any challenges. This is not the Bharat of 1947. This is not the Bharat of 1962. This is not the Bharat of 1965. This is not the Bharat of 1971. This is not the Bharat of 2611. This is a new Bharat. Very,
Absolutely.
very capable and very self confident, yet not overconfident.
Fine. Dr. Saab, I have two questions for you. My final questions. Okay. One is what kind of impact ये लेके आएगा economically, मतलब because of the fuel price, ये जो जंग हो रहा है मिडिल ईस्ट में, इसके वजह से फ्यूल पे क्या इम्पैक्ट रहेगा, और ये if it boils down as a what you call world war, or in that scenario bigger perspective, भारत का रोल क्या होगा उसमें? This is my final question to you, sir. One minute.
So I'll answer the second question first. Number one, that it is a limited operation. It's not likely to lead to World War III. This is a
But
small.
if Iran gets in, ईरान का प्रेसिडेंट आज बात किए थे हमास का लीडर से, अगर if Iran gets in.
So United States has already sent its naval assets, including an aircraft carrier, into the Mediterranean. Iran is a civilizational state, but Iranian government is not truly democratic government. Iran is having domestic problems. On the hijab issue, there's a civil disobedience movement going on, in which not only women of Iran participating, but some of the progressive men are also participating. Iran will get involved at the peril of its own dismemberment and peril of its own destruction. Using verbal rhetoric is one thing, and yes, supporting terrorist organization is one thing, but directly getting involved in the conflict will lead to destruction of Iran. Iran knows that, and they'll be much wiser. They did not retaliate when their IRGC, General Soleimani was assassinated by United States. They went through all kinds of verbal rhetoric and gymnastics, threatening the Satan and all, but they did not actually escalate it into war. They know their limitations, and I don't think they will invite self-destruction of their country by joining this terrorist invasion of Israel. Israel in itself may be capable of neutralizing Hamas, but also may do the same if Iran gets involved. I don't think Iran will get involved. As far as the fuel prices are concerned, at this point in time, majority of our supply does not depend upon the West Asia. We are buying a lot of oil from Russia, and there are other sources also. So there may be some marginal increase, but not so much that it will affect the economy of India.
Thank you very much, Dr. Saab. आपने आए हमसे, you shared your wisdom. Thank you very much for taking your time from the busy schedule. Yeah, your last word, sir.
Well, it was a pleasure to come on this platform. And I may say that, you know, there is a saying, Satyameva Jayate.
Mm-hmm.
Government of Bharat is doing that. They are taking the right stand. And when you see abominable atrocities done on children, women, nobody in the entire world is going to support, except for die-hard ideologues. this terrorist attack on Israel. If you see small babies in cages, you see how women civilians are being dealt with, you see the body of this Jewish German lady singer, Shani Luke, being treated by the
Mhm.
terrorists, your head hangs in shame. There is not going to be any widespread public support for
Magar
this.
Dr. Saab, what you say is absolutely right. But I want to say the viewers one last thing from my side. That is, this is what they have done for my ancestors and your ancestors for 500 years. That's why मेरा गर्व से मेरा सिर उठ जाता है जब मैं ये सोचता हूं कि हमारा पूर्वज, आपका पूर्वज, जब ये चाकू लेके आए, तलवार लेके आए और बोले कि तलवार लो या टोपी लो, हमारा पूर्वज लिए तलवार, कुछ लिए टोपी। मेरे लिए इसके इसके बाद के सदा हमारा पूर्वजों के ऊपर गर्व रहेगा। आपका क्या राय है बताइए। थैंक यू डॉक्टर साहब फॉर ज्वाइनिंग अस एंड sharing your wisdom. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Jai Jai Sri Ram.